Hey, and welcome to the latest episode of our Mystic Road Trip. I'm so excited for this one. We're going to be talking about deconditioning your sun sign. We're going to be doing this, series every Saturday. Every Saturday it will be a little longer because I'm also going to pull some tarot, and I'm also going to talk about the astrology for the following week. So this one's going to be a little bit longer, but I promise it'll be worth it. By the way, my name is Kim. I am a spiritual wellness coach and a Jungian mystic, and I am also an astrology nerd. And I really love helping people peel back the layers of who they were taught to be so they can actually live as who they are, right? And that's what I deem astrology as. We're going to talk about, like I said, deconditioning your sun sign. Because here's the thing. Hold on, let me move my notes. There was so much I wanted to tell you, so I had to make sure I had it all written down. All right, your sun sign isn't just a horoscope label, right? It's cute to read your horoscope and go with it, but it's really about your core. It's about your sense of self, right? Your ego, your creative spark, the part of you that wants to exist really honestly. And most of us, we're not really expressing our sun signs authentically. We're expressing a conditioned version of it, right? So today I kind of want to show you how to spot those patterns and how to gently start reclaiming your sun energy. I'm going to use myself as an example because my Capricorn sun has been quite a journey and still is a little bit of a journey. So before we jump into that aspect, let's talk about what deconditioning actually means. I'm not talking about erasing who you are. Like I said in the intro, it's more about peeling back the layers and of programming that shaped how your sun learned to exist in the world, right? For example, like I said, my Capricorn sun, naturally disciplined, steady, future oriented, right? But what I was taught was work harder, don't rest, don't be vulnerable. Your worth comes from what you produce. That's not Capricorn energy. That's conditioning, right? And this happens across all the signs. Gemini sun might feel pressure to always be upbeat or entertaining. Leo sun might learn to dim their light so they don't seem too much. Pisces sun might be told they're too sensitive and need to be toughened up, right? Deconditioning is noticing these pressures and questioning them and letting your sun express itself in the ways that actually feels like you. And the truth is, before we get into all of this, is that you are not the sum of your sun. You have multiple other, placements and everything that play a role, right? Not every Capricorn sun is the same, right? Not every Gemini moon is the same. All these things, and this is why in this series we're going to take it, bit by bit, and really talk about how to take each planet, each house, all of this, and really kind of dive deeper into it to decondition. Now, as I said in the previous episode, conditioning is kind of sneaky, right? It shows up in a lot of different ways. It can show up in the job you choose. It can show up in the hobbies you choose, the way we speak or don't speak about what we want. You kind of might think you're just being practical, right? Mature, realistic. But sometimes you're just following an old script. This is where I think astrology, tarot, shower can become very, very helpful. Your sun shows your core energy, right? Tarot reflects patterns playing out beneath the surface. Shadow work reveals the parts that you adapted quietly and never got updated. And the real question becomes, am I living as who I'm supposed to be? Or as what someone else told me I'm supposed to be? And that's what conditioning is. I use 3 different astrologies. So here's the thing. I'm a Capricorn sun in the Western. I'm a Sagittarius sun in the Vedic. And I'm a Gemini sun in the Draconic. And so I use a 3 keys method. And I'll walk you through how that looks with my own astrological lens. Okay. So in Western astrology, I'm a Capricorn sun. Once again, that's disciplined, responsible, focused on long-term growth, right? but my conditioning pushed that into overworking, equating rest with laziness, as I mentioned in another episode. Softness, because it was, I had to hide my emotions because it wasn't useful, which is really hard because I know I have a Cancer moon. Um, so deconditioning in this situation meant experimenting. Okay, uh, letting myself just rest without doing something to earn it, right? Like I didn't have to have a hard day. Oh, I deserve this. Just like if I feel my body tells me I need rest, I need rest. I just fell asleep on the couch before recording this podcast because, well, that's what my body said it needed. So I'm trying to live. I'm trying to walk the walk. Um, maybe letting creativity exist without turning into productivity. Just having fun. I go to karaoke all the time. There's no productivity there. It's just fun, right? Uh, letting play be a part of my Capricorn expression, right? It's not a reward at the end. If I want to play PS4, I don't need to earn it. I can do it. It's just fun for me, right? These are the ways that I have to experiment to decondition my Western sun, which is it sits in Capricorn, right? And it's a process. So the Western astrology is like who you had to become to work your way through life, right? It's the habits, it's all that. Vedic astrology talks very much more about generational inherited conditioning, right? So it's a lot about karmic, right? There, I'm a Sagittarius sun, and that could lead to overextending, feeling pressure to seek meaning and wisdom and moral certainty. It could feel like I need to live up to something. Deconditioning here means I need to be able to let go of like performing with wisdom, right? I don't always have to be expanding. I don't always have to be on a path, right? I do like to learn, but you know, intelligence and wisdom were currency. Um, you know, so instead I need to ask, is this actually aligned with me or am I trying to prove something? So, for instance, I love psychology and philosophy, but I sat with myself for a long time and asked if I was learning these things because it made me sound smarter. And that way it wasn't like I wasn't growing. And it was really, I loved it, right? There are other things that I'm like, I'm not a big fan of this. I don't know why I've done this, right? So you have to ask yourself, is this something that you want? Or is this something that you're doing because it's kind of performative, right? And this could be anything. This is just an example for me, right? So if we move into the Draconic, and I look at Draconic kind of like, uh, this is the soul's blueprint, right? So when I'm deconditioning, this is what I'm working towards, right? So I have a Gemini sun in Draconic astrology. That means I should be curious. I should be playful. I should be flexible. I should be communicative, right? So deconditioning here is about letting myself explore without structure, right? Letting curiosity lead, letting joy and variety be enough, right? Without justifying them. So when you look at all three of these together, you get a full picture who you are, what you inherited, and who you've always been underneath it all. And that's the truth. For those that get to know me very well, like if I look at the the attributes of a Gemini sun, that is, if you get to know me, I'm very curious. I'm very playful. I can be very flexible. I'm very good with communication. Sometimes some people think too good or overly communicative, and that could be something I need to decondition on in and of itself. But that's the way you go. You're working through your things, the exterior and interior, the generational trauma and generational cycles, and that's how you can do it. So, how do you decondition your sun? We talked about something, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's practice, right? You can start gently though. First thing you have to do is be aware of it. Notice where your sun energy feels muted or over, like you're overcompensating, right? Then you're going to explore the shadows, journal, pull a tarot card, ask where your sun learned to hide or perform, right? Then you want to experiment, right? Those are the things I was talking about, express it in small, freeing ways, set a boundary, create something, say no, say yes to something unexpected, whatever it is, and then you have to reinforce it, right? Once again, I always say this, magic or spirituality is energy, right? If you don't take any action or integrate it and reinforce it, it's simply theoretical. You can talk all day long about getting back to your authentic self, but if there are no actions made, you're never going to get there. You don't start a journey without stepping a foot outside your door, right? So I think, you have to reinforce it. That's the last step. You celebrate when something feels aligned. Let authenticity become very familiar. Look, the trick deconditioning isn't like this rigid structure, okay? Like it should you should feel playful. It should feel curious, and in the end, you should feel deeply liberated when you start living your true authentic self. As you do this, you might notice some shifts. Relationships might respond differently. Work is going to feel different. Your energy is going to change. None of the tools that you use are there to control your life. They're there to reflect it, right? Integration isn't about, uh, you know, changing. It's about letting all of you exist. Every part of you, the confident, the sensitive, the intuitive, the rebellious, all of that needs to be in there. That is when you're going to start seeing you truly living your sun energy and allowing it to shine, right? So I'm going to do a couple things now. We're going to do a little tarot pull for the energy for next week. And then we will talk about the astrology, and then we'll do a little outro, and we'll be on our way to starting the process of doing that heroine's journey and starting to decondition our sun sign. Let me get to this. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to have to clip this on because I'm going to be doing tarot, so I need my hands free. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, this is the first time I'm doing tarot on camera. It's gonna be very interesting. All right, so we are just going to pull 2 cards. It's gonna be general, um, like a general collective reading for the energies. One card will be the energies that we're gonna have for this coming week, and then the next one will be advice to navigate that energy. Starting next week, we'll start doing a little bit more in depth. I will start doing it for the different signs. But this week, we're just going to do one general overall because I'm starting to get used to it. So let me do this one more time. All right. Call the spirits. All right, let's see what we got. This is this is new. I've never done it live on camera, so I'm a little nervous. I'm okay. Well, let me get those. All right, so here's the cards that came out. Let's see. By the way, I'm using the Black Cats deck. It is by, I never can remember who it's by. And I'm old, so Maria. I'll put all the information in there. All right, so what did we get? All right, we got the Star. So that is the energy for the week. So, to me, the Star always talks about filling yourself first, right? In everything, right? You're pouring water into here and watering something else. This always talks to me about kind of like you have to. It's going to be very much about you this week. You have to pour into your own cup first before you pour into others. If you can't do that, if you're not able to, you can't give energy to people from an empty vessel. So really focusing on something you're really into, really taking the time for yourself. The other card we got was the Five of Cups. So this really is, you know, talking about feeling kind of trapped, but the truth is, like, there's there's freedom to be had. There's you know, I'm really getting a feeling like you're kind of like looking at spilled looking at the past. You're stuck in the past. So to navigate this energy, you have to step outside of that past and really move towards the full cups that are in front of you. Like, notice the places where you have fullness and stop dwelling in the past, kind of thing. It's really in alignment with what we are talking about with deconditioning. You need to step out of those old patterns and see that there's other options. You aren't as trapped as you think you are. The past is the past. You can't change it. And the future, you don't know. But you have things right in front of you that can help lead you to success, happiness, whatever it is you're looking for, right? And that goes right in alignment with the star card, which is about making time for yourself and really tuning in and filling your cup first. And that's kind of how I see it. So hopefully it helps. So next week, just kind of try to step out of old patterns, try to step away from being so concerned with things that happened in the past. And because that somehow is blocking you from being able to fill your own cup. And that's the tarot energy for the week. Good advice, though. Good advice for sure. All right, let's move to astrology. So we're gonna take a little tour through the week. I'm gonna break down each day, starting from January 11th to January 17th. I'm gonna give you quick little tidbits on it, right? But the overall vibe of the week is, we're in a waning crescent moon stretch, and that means kind of like it's not so much about launching the empire; it's more about like wrapping it up, integrating lessons, that kind of thing. Shedding skin, stories, and emotional baggage kind of idea. That's hogging laying room. So basically, kind of what the cards were saying, it was saying, hey, like, you need to let go of the things in the past. They're taking up too much space, and they're not able to really use the energy of the star to move forward. On January 11th, we're going to have a moon in Scorpio, and it's going to be squaring Pluto in Aquarius. By the way, I do have notes because I'm good, but I'm not that good. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. So, theme for that day is going to be like emotional depth, and kind of meets collective tension. Scorpio moon is like, let's go deep, and Pluto is like, let's challenge power systems and your attachment to being right. You might feel pressed, triggered, maybe like someone said something that kind of hit a raw nerve for you, uh, maybe one that you didn't even know that you had. I would say with this, make sure you move your body, walk clean, dance. Do not let that feeling stew on January 11th. Pause before reacting. You know, kind of say, is this about now or about everything since like the past, like the past. Make sure you're like really channeling that intensity because look, Scorpio is super intense, and when it's wrapped up in the moon, that's really about your feelings, right? So I would say channel that into looking for the truth, not confrontation. Also, the moon is in Scorpio for the next couple of days, so if you're looking to like dive into the past, like shadow work, journaling, trying to get to the root of something instead of like uh, trying to use crystals and just say it's healed. Like, I'm all up for crystals. I believe in crystals, but I think in this situation you need to get to the root of what's causing that feeling. So this could be kind of a very emotional day. You might deal with some power struggles. Uh, just so take a breath, find ways to like work that out on January 11th. If we go into January 12th, the moon is still in Scorpio, but on this day it's going to sextile Mercury in Capricorn, and This is a great communication aspect, and it's one of the best for this week, to be truthful. Scorpio, as I said, is very deep, and Capricorn speaks very clearly and cleanly. So you might be able to say some hard-hitting things without things blowing up. You could be honest and mature. I would say have conversations you've been avoiding maybe on this day on January 12th might be a good idea. Write the email, make a plan kind of thing. Uh, but make sure you're speaking with intention, not emotion out, like not being in your emotions. I think this day you're more likely to be heard and respected and then not just kind of tolerated. So I'd say use that for any big situations that you're looking to answer. All right, January 13th, the moon is still in Scorpio, right? And it's going to trine Neptune and Pisces. I actually really like this. It's kind of gives yourself insight and intuition, kind of like a soft, psychic, and deeply internal day, right? You may find on this day, on the 13th, that you want quiet. You might have very vivid dreams. Um, and maybe like a light bulb moment, like of something, like there's been something confusing for a while, and suddenly you're gonna understand it, right? Um, but they may arrive in weird ways, right? So the answers are going to come in. It could come in strange ways through music, through meditation, maybe in the shower suddenly. Maybe you're just spacing out and looking out the window. Whatever it is, it's going to come in a weird way. I would say this day, don't be guilty or feel bad if you want to schedule alone time. Don't overthink things that happen. Maybe just journal them out. And then I would say, let intuition lead instead of logic. That's coming from a Capricorn. Later in that day, the moon is going to move from Scorpio into Sagittarius. And this is where the emotion fog is going to kind of lift a little bit, right? Sag moons are very much about diving into what's the lesson, how does the story make me wiser, let's zoom out, big picture kind of thing. I would say as the moon moves into that, try to expand your do something that expands your mind, whatever, read, travel, plan, dream, whatever. I would say also, like, reframe recent emotional heaviness into meaning. So really, if you've had any emotional upheavals or anything happening, looking at and then trying to tweak it into meaning. um I just have fun that day as the moon moves into Sagittarius, right? Laugh. Humor is the best medicine, especially in Sagittarius energy, right? All right, we have January 14th. Mercury in Capricorn is going to be opposite Jupiter in Cancer. Now, this is a kind of think big aspect, but it's more about the vision and not execution. You might find yourself having a lot of ideas, and then all kinds of possibilities are feeling pretty endless. But emotions could be like, is this safe? This is where you have to question yourself about that. Because Mercury in Capricorn, I would say brainstorming, but don't commit to anything. Let ideas breathe. No pressure to act. Try to balance the logic and emotional wisdom, because, like I said, Jupiter in Cancer, that's expansive. And if you feel overwhelmed this day, it's kind of normal. Your mind is going to be expanding faster than your calendar can keep. So you're going to have to just be okay with having tons of ideas, but like no movement on them, and that's okay. That's the best way to handle this energy for sure. All right, we got January 15th. Venus in Capricorn is going to sextile Saturn in Pisces. Now, Venus is also going to trine Uranus in Taurus. So this is a pretty powerful day. So you may want to put this on the calendar. Venus and Saturn, that's serious love, long-term goals, doing the work that actually matters. Venus and Uranus, that's trying something different, unexpected progress, kind of refreshing changes in relationships or finances. It's a lot. Okay. So I think the big thing to do here is to really commit to things that truly matter to you, right? Not what looks good on paper, not what other people say is the right way to go. You want to commit to things that really feel aligned with yourself. Say yes to a new approach, right? I think one of the things about this energy is you're going to have to try to figure out how to balance stability and freedom. They can coexist. It's just a little more challenging. If you may see relationships evolve on this day. You may have creative breakthroughs. Money moves that are going to be smart and unconventional. They're all going to work well for you this day. This is a great day to launch something. This is a great day to take a step and do something outside the box. This is a great day to do all that. Right? It's going to be it's a day where commitment meets innovation, and I think that's going to be great. I have it on my calendar. It's going to be awesome. All right, day January 16th, the moon in Sagittarius is going to square Neptune in Pisces. So after that big day, the day before, you may find that you have lower energy, maybe emotional exhaustion. Might feel spacey and unmotivated. You're just feeling the energies, right? Don't overcommit on this day. Don't force clarity. Don't pretend you're fine when you're fried. Like, it's not going to be good. I think this day is a good day to take a you day, rest more than usual, make sure you hydrate, do something soothing and unproductive, because later in the day, the moon enters Capricorn and focus is going to return. So just use that downtime as you can, and then towards the evening, you'll be able to sense like how the path is going to be moving forward. It's going to be slowly, it's going to be realistically and responsibly, but it'll start feeling like movement is happening again. All right, and on January 17th, Venus is going to enter Aquarius. So love, friendship, freedom. Woo! Venus in Aquarius shifts relationships from obligation to authenticity, right? Over the next few weeks, because Venus is going to be in Aquarius for a little bit, friendship's going to matter more. You're going to crave intellectual connection. You want people who let you be you, not watered down version, right? Also, Venus is going to sextile Neptune, which is like compassionate connections and spirituality. The Sun is going to sextile Saturn, so that's steady progress and earned recognition. And the Sun is going to trine Uranus, which means bold changes that actually work. So that's a lot, right? On the 17th is another day I would maybe put it on your calendar. How you're going to work with this? You're going to expand your social circle, maybe go out, meet new people, try something new. Trust that maybe those unconventional paths that maybe sometimes don't feel as comfortable that's really conditioning, and maybe that's really the path you need to be, because that's where real success is going to be found, right? So basically, I would say this week is all about depth, meaning direction, trying to get rid of emotional clutter, making space for smarter and freer connections. So don't rush, don't suppress, don't spiral. Try to learn the lessons that come with you. Keep moving, wiser, and honestly, that's how you're going to grow. So that's it for the astrology, and that's it for this episode. Deconditioning your sun sign, going back to the topic at hand, isn't about changing who you are. It is about letting yourself be who you've always been. Start small, experiment, notice what feels true. As always, I'm Kim, and I'm reminding you that your authentic self is always there. You just have to keep noticing and keep exploring and let your sun shine the way it always was meant to. And that's it for today, guys. Have a blessed week. I will see you in the next episode.